Good morning. It is almost August, and I feel like I haven't been out in the garden in weeks. And I know it's only been a couple of days, but I came out here today and things are growing so well, but I've got a couple of water problems, so I've taken care of those, I hope. And I wanted to show you, we talked about the garland or the cattle panels that I have that go over from one bed to the other so that things can grow up them. And I want you to see how that's working, but I also wanted to talk to you about how we're going to put some hammocks on our fruit so that they won't put too much stress on the plant. So here we go. So I wanted you to see these plants that are coming up this side of the cattle panel. Those are spaghetti squash. And I've also got some that are out here on just a panel that I put off the side, because if you notice, I only have one cattle panel going up this side. And the reason why is because I only had one, because I put two over there for the cucumbers to grow up. And so by the time everything started growing, I was a ways behind. So I just stuck some little panels that I had out here. And boy, everything is growing really, really well. And then you wonder what we've got on the inside. On the inside of there are just tomatoes. And then over on this side, I've got acorn squash going. And those acorn squash, they just want to come out and go clear across that tomato bed. They don't want to go up that vine. So I just have to come out and encourage them to do that. There's not quite as many fruit. Well, there's quite a bit of fruit actually, but they're just really small on that side. I also have tomatoes in this bed, and these are those brand new beds that I put in this year. The ones that were 2 foot across, or 4 foot across and 8 foot long and 2 foot tall. And we had to put all that dirt in them, but they're growing really, really well. And then the tomatoes are on the inside of this. And if you'll notice, look at these tomatoes I've got growing. They're going really, really good out here. I just have struggled in some of my tomato plants have done really well and some haven't. But let me go up here and show you these hammocks and show you how we put them on. Okay, so when these little net hammocks first showed up at my house, that's what they came in. They were in this big package. And I thought, what the heck have I bought? But when you take them, and if you'll take them, one end of them is sealed together, and then you just stretch the other end, and this end right here is open. And so what are we going to do with them? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to show you one that's already been put on, and that is right here. And what they do, I've tied them onto the cattle panels, and what they do is they allow this to grow, but it takes some of the weight off of that vine. And so I'm going to go ahead and do some of these others that I've got. There's one right there that the birds have got to, and that just made me irritated. But the others are pretty small, some of them. This one, I'm going to put it on. I've got a couple over here that are pretty small. See that one right there is tiny. This one down here is ready. But I wanted to show you something that one of them is just so big, and it's over here on this panel. Look at that. And I didn't get out here to put it on beforehand, so I'm going to have to come up with another way to tie that up, because it is getting heavy, and I'm afraid it's just going to break that vine right off, and I don't want to lose that. But it's great, isn't it? Over here, I wanted to show you some of these acorn squash that I've got coming. See, look at that. These little tiny ones. I'll probably wait for a little bit before I'll put the hammocks on them. But I'm getting them to kind of go up the panel pretty good. See, that's working all right. And there's some of those acorn squash right there. So we're going to have acorn squash. I'm kind of excited. That's a new thing for me. But we've got lots of tomatoes growing in there. You can't hardly see them. Over here, I've got some lemon cucumbers, and I've struggled, but I have ate one of them off of there. Inside, they've got some cabbage that's growing. See, that's where I had the water problem. I think I've got it taken care of. Over here, we've got not cabbages. Over here, we've got cucumbers that are growing, and I picked one this morning, and it looks like, the thing about cucumbers is you have to come down here every single day and take a look. Because if you don't, you end up with big, huge mamas that just get fed to the chickens. So my mom's chickens will be fed really well today. Let's see what else we've got going. We've got cabbage over here. Those tomato plants have struggled because the water got turned off to them twice. They were the most beautiful plants, but I think they're going to come back, but I don't know. We've got cabbage growing here. These tomatoes are doing well. They're growing really well. These were some of those little teeny tiny ones that we planted at the end of, or the beginning of the season, and they're doing really well. Look at this. I've got some peppers that are huge and some peppers that are not. And some peppers look like I just barely put them in the ground, and that's not what happened. They have just struggled, but I understand that I'm not the only one that's had problems, that there's been a lot of other individuals that have got peppers that just aren't growing very well. So those are the zucchini I put on. I've complained about so much because they were so tiny, but they're starting to come on. I've picked, I think, 3 zucchini from there. My mom, she just can't keep it ahead of hers. She sends me about 3 zucchini a week because they're growing so well in her garden. Excuse me. The tomatoes that are over in the new beds are doing really well. They've got tomatoes, and I've ate cherry tomatoes off of these. Oh, hell. I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times. And look, they're ready again to go. Can you see that? So, yep, there's a cherry tomato. Yep. Sure was a cherry tomato. Sure did taste good. But you guys, the garden, some things are great. Like these tomatoes are growing. They don't have tomatoes on them though. These tomatoes are growing really well. They've got tomatoes on them. Look at those peppers. They're tall. I don't have any peppers on them, but they're tall. And let's see what's going on the other side of this cattle panel right here. Look at that. I have got a cantaloupe growing. And that's what all of these vines are cantaloupe. And then there's some cabbage that are growing on the inside. But that's pretty exciting. I hadn't seen that one yet. But this morning I came out here and I have got, look at this. There's a little watermelon. There's another one. There's one growing up there. There's, I think, 3 or 4. Some are just starting right here. I've got one that's right here. And I don't usually grow watermelon, so that's pretty exciting. These plants are, they look okay. But these are sweet baby, I think, and they're not going to get very big, but look at that. Isn't that cool? These cabbages are doing really, really great. But those peppers, look at that. And I've been out here and watered, and weeded twice, but some of them are doing okay and some of them aren't. None of them have got plants on them. None of them even got blossoms on them. So I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. It's crazy. I think that all of these peppers in here are sweet peppers, and they've started to come on pretty good. They don't have any blossoms on them, but the plants are doing really well. So we'll see if they have if we have enough time in the season for them to grow fruit. All right, so I decided to do something different, and I got that great big one put into a hammock, and I'm just using some Ziploc or some zip ties. And that one, I don't know if it's going to work really well, but see this one, I was able to start it really small, and I just put that to the top of it, and this is the one I tied, but this one I think looks much better. I started it, and it's going to be able to grow a lot. So maybe the zip ties are the choice. These are big zip ties. I'll have to get some smaller ones, but I think maybe I figured it out. Yay! And see, I got the cantaloupe, got it under, and when I started looking here, look at this. There's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. So I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna have cantaloupe. Yay! Yay, yay, yay! Okay, so there you got it. You got to see how we're going to put those little hammocks on the fruit and why we do it. And then I gave you a little tour of the garden, and you can see where things are growing really well and where things are not growing well at all. And you know, that is just kind of like life. Sometimes things go really good and some things don't. And I can't believe those peppers in the pepper pot. You know, we have transferred different crops into that pepper plant, or the pepper pot. But peppers seem to be the ones that do the very, very best there year after year. And they're just not doing very good this year, and I don't understand it. But like I said before, I got leaves in my face now. I'm not the only one in this area that's having problems with their peppers. A lot of people say their peppers have just struggled this year. But hopefully we've got enough time for them to come on and start producing fruit. Hopefully. But I hope you're all enjoying your summer. Today's the 26th day of July. I cannot believe next week is August, and I'm just not ready for the summer to be over. And I'm going camping for the very first time, and I should have been camping 4 or 5 or 6 times by now, shouldn't I? Of course, I have a hard time just getting out of town. I've got so many commitments on other things. But I hope you're having a good summer. I hope that your garden's growing. If you've got any questions, shoot them at me. If you've got any comments, do that too. If you like these, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, let me know. I'm sorry that I haven't been on as much as I'd like to be, but now it's getting to that point where the fruit's starting to come on, and we're going to talk about how we keep the bugs away and how we keep the fruit producing and what we're going to do with that fruit once it's ripe. So now the wind's going to start blowing. We're under a red flag warning because it is so hot and it is so dry. And the jet stream is bringing all of the fire or the smoke from down in the fires in southern Utah and parking it right here where I live. And so it makes for some interesting sunsets, but it also makes for some hazy skies, and hot and dry and windy. And I don't like that combination. But you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see you next week. Bye.